Hello, good morning, happy Monday. You may notice that the stream started a little bit different time today, despite being on the same schedule. And that's because in the United States, we decided once again, as per every year, we to jet lag ourselves. So that happened yesterday. Yesterday morning, we all of our clocks shifted backwards, forwards. No, backwards by an hour, I think. Which is fun to say the least. Hey, Isitsu, how are you doing today? I also love the fact that like people always try to tell you, "Oh yeah, you gained an hour." It's like, no, we gained jet lag. That's all. We didn't. It's not like days are 25 hours now. That happened here a few weeks ago. Now things are back to normal. Oh, nice. There's a few states here that don't do the time change, and that makes it much more awkward if you're in one of the states that do. So that's nice. But anyways, I think that there was some other countries that are gonna do it like in a couple more weeks, right? Lunatic, hello. How are you doing today? Also, I can't remember if I said hello, Isitsu, or not. But hello, how are you doing today? Also, happy Monday. I am the expert at consistency. I do try to be pretty consistent with almost everything I do, which is one of the reasons why I do like streams at like very like streams every morning, streams in the evening. If I do something, it's going to be like every day if I can. I try to turn everything I do into a habit if I can. It just makes things a lot easier in my brain. So that's why I do this. But I am not 100%. I have, I still have plenty of weird little consistent problems. And then the rest of the time is like, okay, how can I work around that? How can I fix that? And then I have that just gives me too many projects to work on. All right. First things first. So there's a question in the SQLX course about adding in foreign key stuff, and I could swear that we added in the foreign key when creating the game platform, and so I wanted to just double check that. So I think do I own that course? It'd be kind of I don't own it here. Do I own that course here? I do own the course here. Okay, so I think that is, let's see. SQLX connection, CRUD, bulk inserts, joins, probably in the joins. So we're gonna have, do I put it in here? So I have my structure. I have the join. Oh, I'm just actually doing the join here. This isn't the insert. Okay. This is not the lesson with the inserts. I think that must be migrations and seeds, maybe? Or could it also be in the connection where I set things up? No, I think it's in the, Our table, seeding, creating a seeds. Okay, so insert into, oh, yeah, so it's part of migrations then. Okay, where's the migrations? Running migrations. Okay, so we have create table games. So we do that, that's all fine. Create our tables. Okay, so we have games, platforms. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to add that in here. You're still persevering with CORM. You stupidly made your own builder that duplicated the active model type. Oh no! Oh no! Well, learning, right? Like you wouldn't know until you did that, right? So it's good in a way, right? Also, sorry. Let's see. So yeah, okay. All I need to do is add in the foreign key stuff into here, which I might have even. Let's create a new tab. Not there. Where did I? Oh, I probably didn't keep any of this around. So, what do I want to do for this? I think maybe just creating them again. I think the foreign key that, so the foreign key that sort of suggests in there, I think would do it. Yeah. I still have the database up. Do I have the code? So we have our course articles, but that one doesn't have it. We have lessons. We have the SQLX bookstore assessment. I don't think that's going to work. Environment variables lesson in there. I don't think I have this. So maybe today, and maybe today we're starting with the. Well, technically, this is still part of the Axum course because the SQLX thing will be one of the modules in Axum. So I guess technically my my title is still correct. Just that this is like a sub thing that you can buy on your own. Let's create a lesson for this then. Do I want to go into lesson? Yeah, let's go into lessons. Let's take SQLX. And let's create a new, so I'm just going to do the code for this one that I can update the code for it. So we're going to follow our own lesson and recreate that as much as possible. So Lee, I hope I didn't mispronounce your username too much. Hello, how are you doing today? This course looks pretty cool. May I ask how you access it, or has it released yet? Yes, it has released. I haven't done too much marketing for it, but if you would like to check it out and potentially purchase it, it is, well, here's the LMS location. So Here's where you actually go to like find the place, create an account, log in, and then if you go to courses, so once you create an account and log in, you can go to courses, go to Axum Rust, and it's going to be $5. And once you purchase it, there'll be a purchase link here. If you don't own it, I own it because I gave it to myself, and then you can open it and see all the things. You can go and you can preview it, and you can see the titles of it, but you can't actually see the content until you purchase it. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right, so is this migrations and seeds one, right? Because this one has all of them. It's like now, yeah, create all our tables. This is the one we want to update. That's okay for pronouncing your name? All right. I will try to remember that, and hopefully I don't do it differently next time, which I am known to do. All right, so we're gonna do this ourselves. We're gonna now do this in a repo, and then I'll link the repo in the bottom here, because I don't have that, and it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Okay, so rejected content. So we got all that stuff. So I basically want to create a new, well, okay, it's two things, right? So we're going to create migrations. Oh, I should make sure I have a database up and running. So I have Postgres. So that's all for that database stuff. That's running on 5432. I could use that one. I'm kind of thinking of spinning up just another one just for this course. So if I do docker run, now I already have something on 5432, so this will have to be 543 like 1. Oh, and wait, Postgres dev. Oh, I already have it running. I have to stop it. I have to remove it first. Jose, hello. Oh, bom dia. Which I'm guessing is hello. How are you doing? Okay, so Docker. Okay, so let's Docker remove. Now the name Postgres dev, because I don't have that up and running right now. Can we swap databases? What do you mean? Like in your project, can you switch out from like a data like Postgres to MySQL? In that case, yes, it is absolutely possible to do that. So I don't know if it's like necessarily the problems you need to look out for. Something like CORM should be able to handle that pretty easily. You do need to switch out the drivers that you're using, right? So like when you install CORM, you're like also installing the Postgres driver and the Postgres connector, or the MySQL driver and or the SQLite driver. So you need to switch those out. The commands should be pretty much the same. There's a few things that you can't do in some of them that you can do in the others, but I want to say that they just work anyways, or at least in most of these that I've used through my career, they just work anyways, even if they don't do anything to the database. Like for example, on the SQLite driver, you can tell it that it's going to be a varchar that's only the size of 4. It'll be a varchar of size 2. It'll be a text field because that's what SQLite does. Like there is no such thing as limiting amount of text used, because types in SQLite are they're iffy. but it just sort of like lets you do it, and that's one of the reasons why like an ORM is nice. I mean, can I use Postgres and you use SQLite? I am fed up with the data types. Oh, okay. So you want the SQLite thing, but you want other people to use it? I would have to test that. I don't think like, theoretically, yes, theoretically. I've never tested it, so I can't say for 100% sure. But like, that's the entire point of an ORM, is that it's supposed to abstract away all of the like logic between the databases, so you tell it what to do, and it says like, ooh, if it were in SQLite, I'm gonna change your SQL command to be appropriate for this database, or I'm not even gonna run that thing, I'm just going to pretend that I ran it. Like, that's the idea behind them. For SQLX, that's a lot different, right? Because it's just saying, okay, just here's a bunch of queries and then send that in. And if SQLite doesn't support it, you're going to run into problems with it. So the answer is perhaps it should be. I think so, but not a 100% guaranteed yes. Okay, so I remove use. Let's do our Docker run again. We have to set you up on port 5431. Let's also get that going, so that way I don't have stuff going behind me. Exabyte, hello. How are you doing today? You're starting to like writing raw SQL. ORMs can be a pain. Also, hi. Yeah, I go back and forth. The ORM side of it, just like having things be in logic as opposed to being in SQL itself, is really nice. That being said, being able to write the raw SQL is also just nice, because you know exactly what's going to happen. I've found in the past that if you don't know SQL, it's actually easier to get started with an ORM, because it's just code, and your mental model is in code anyways. And so you just do a partial shift, but you don't really understand what's happening in a database. Like you can't do a one-to-one then back to SQL. So I sort of feel that it's like easier to get started, but then it might be feels like it's better to go the other way. Like start with something like SQLX and then say like, okay, now you know SQL, try an ORM, see if you like it. Like if you have a really, really nasty series of joins you have to do, the ORM is going to help you a lot more, simply because being in logic is just going to be easier to debug with something like that. That being said, you get like a 7 times, 8 times, 10 times penalty just for installing the ORM. So it's like, you have to make decisions. Okay. Okay, so Docker run. So I have my database up and running now. This should be a plain new database because I deleted the other one, and I'm not like attaching any volumes to it. So it should just be on its own, doing its own thing. And now it's running on port 5431. So let's just make sure we're in the latest Rust. We are not. Or is it because I installed nightly and now every time I do this, it's gonna have something to update? It's probably both. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna do a cargo. So let's find out. What do we do here? Now this is all like context about what we're gonna do. So we have a scenario. We have like what we're going to be doing, like the shape of the data, Uh, game platform. So I wonder if I want to update you to have like a foreign key showing here. That might be a good idea. So SQLX, this is migrations and seeds. Yeah, but usually the ORM generated SQL isn't optimized. That's another reason why like it's a 10 times penalty just by installing it, right? Like it's pretty bad. It can be pretty bad, I guess. One of the worst ones is Prisma. Prisma joins are done by the Rust engine, which performs multiple queries. That's so that's if we're talking like Rust stuff. So Laravel is their ORM is pretty good, but also at the same time the same exact foot guns that like Prisma has. It sounds. I haven't used Prisma, so you can't if you set up true relationships, it will attempt to use those. But if you don't, Laravel won't tell you and say, hey, by the way, we noticed that you're referencing this other table over here and it doesn't exist. So it's like, well, whatever. I guess you don't want a reference in the real, code so that or in the database. So therefore, we'll just do logical joins instead of database joins. And it's the same exact thing. It'll just do multiple queries. And then you could, if you run a, what are they? You could run the tools that show you like what's actually happening in a database, and you'll just see like query, 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 and then it's terrible. Like that's the for like one action from the user. But what's nice is if you do real joins in the database, Laravel does switch over to the real joins. Then it's just like query, and then it creates the gnarly join between like 20 different tables, and it's fine. It just doesn't tell you that you're doing that, so it's super easy to forget. And I worked on a project in which I think like half the team didn't understand when they first wrote the code, and so like there was half real like join tables and then half that just didn't exist at all, and it was like, oh no. Prisma is a TypeScript library which uses a Rust engine underneath. Up until v4, Prisma used GraphQL to communicate between TypeScript and Rust engine. In v5 they use a JSON based method. Oh, interesting. That's interesting to use GraphQL sort of like for a local HTTP communication between it. I would, yeah, so like I'm a fan of GraphQL, but I'm not a fan of GraphQL for like API to API. I don't think, or I mean, okay, so I'm a fan of like completely different systems working over GraphQL, but like if you're kind of together and you're trying to do like the 12-factor app thing, there's faster, like that usually want speed at that point. And GraphQL is not really about speed, but about pure developer experience, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so with those other ones, we don't have anything here. Maybe I want to add in, just to be consistent, I will add, we'll do a select, do a, okay, so we get the PK there. And then I want, so we're always the same amount. So we go there. We do foreign key. And like that. Okay, so that should be fine. No, well, fine, whatever. Too late. No. Oh, it's replace that I wanted. Replace, not okay. No, replace with space, please. There we go. Okay. And then for you, I want the foreign key. The foreign key is going to be to game ID, right? So should I do something like that to indicate that these are foreign keys and primary keys to their appropriate places? I think that works, right? JS World is weird, not gonna lie. It can be pretty weird. There's a lot of things about JavaScript. There's a lot of footguns, and it can be very interesting to work on. That being said, there's a lot of really cool stuff you could do with it too. I think though that a lot of people like see the footguns or see how different it is from other languages. So if your first language is not JavaScript, then coming to it is going to be there's a lot to relearn. Wait, I missed that entire part of the database flow. Can I repeat the thought process? Yeah. So for this thing here, just like creating a table. So part of the course here. Sylvie, hi. You want to come say hi? Hi. No? Okay. He might come up. He's just going to sit on the floor for a little bit. Okay, so we have primary key for. So yeah, I want to show like we have a foreign key here, right? Because this is a join table. And unfortunately, I completely forgot to in the lesson. Now I think I did it in the actual like walkthrough because it worked. Putting in the foreign keys. But apparently in this part, I completely forgot to do foreign keys. Hey, Zilby's here. So is this gonna be good enough? Like it's like foreign key. Now normally like you want to also show like where it goes, but I'm kind of showing like, okay, well we're using game ID, like we're using name underscore ID as opposed to just ID. So like to me it makes a lot of sense, like it just works, right? Like these should be obvious that they're going to these specific tables up here, I believe. Now I could also see that it's not going to work with that. Let's see. Okay, this will allow us to have a simple example to work with that also utilizes a join table with a composite primary key. This kind of key allows us to enforce that we don't repeat the same game for the same platform multiple times. I guess like each column in the join table, in the game platform table, will also be a foreign key pointing to the appropriate ID in the tables they are connecting to. Okay. I guess if I add that up, that just makes more sense. Okay. Install SQLX CLI. All right. Well, we already have SQLX CLI installed. We can install it again just in case things changed. Let's rename you to what is this? SQL. Call it like SQLX lessons. Or is it like migrations and seeds? SQLX Migrations and seeds. Okay. Already installed. Okay, so there's not a new version. Migrations. So we go through migrations and we figure out what those are. Creating a migration. To create a migration, run the following command. Okay, so SQL migrate, add. Okay, so we'll do create games. Ooh, I don't actually know if I want to do this one here. I don't think I did. Hold on. I want to first take another one. So this is going to be migrations and seeds, right? So migrations and seeds with SQLX. So we're going to turn this into the, this is going to be the new lesson for this. Okay, so now we're going to do our SQLX migrate, add, create games. That creates that. So now I have my migrations here. I need do I have creating the .env somewhere? Creating a migrate. Okay, so creating migration. Here's a code to create the games table in the create games migration. Okay, so let's just throw you in here. Okay. Running the migrations. Okay, so I need to add in a section for the .env. So install SQLX CLI. Maybe like also don't forget, because we've had to do the .env for like everything so far. So don't I guess like double check. Oh, that's why I don't need it in here, because the idea is that this is like part of all the other lessons, and I've done like the .env already as part of like the first lesson. But probably like a little bit of hint to say like, hey, double check that your .env file is set up and has the database URL in it. Otherwise, the SQLX CLI will not be able to work properly. Okay. Let's see if I can remember what this is. So it's for that database, for that Docker container, I think it's Postgres // we're gonna go to usernames. That's Postgres keyboard cat 5431 / SQLX tutorial. Okay, so I get that done, which now means I can run. Okay, so what's next? Create the migration. We do that. Okay, so we did migration script. Okay, so create table games. We can run the migration with the SQLX migrate run. Okay, so let's try that. It created the games. I should be able to connect in and actually see that. I don't remember if this has us looking at that. Oh yeah, now when we inspect the database, so now we can do Docker exec into SQLX tutorial. We can do a, what is it, DL? No, DS games. Yeah, we can see that did its thing. Reverting the migrations. Okay, so we have to, we have to create the games down. So let's copy that to that, except I think it's just down, right? Next to it. Yeah, it is just dot down. So this one is going to be, I actually have, instead of writing that, I want it, just going to do this. Okay. Then we can run the revert command, which will run the, apparently I forgot to actually write the revert command in here. This is what happens when this is like one of the last ones we did. So it's like, oh yeah, I was getting tired, apparently. All right, question: what's your process exactly when designing lessons? And after you have the script article written, what's your process of recording it? So my process, I try to go something called mastery based, which is I'm thinking about what the skills are that are absolutely necessary for like what needs to be done, right? So like I come up with a list of those, and then basically it's a lesson per one of those skills, and sometimes two, right? So like this is migrations and seeds. Those are two skills, but they're really close together, and oftentimes you use them close together, so it becomes a single lesson together for that. I write the article, and then I'm actually like I build it alongside while I write the article. Here apparently I just forgot to copy in some of the stuff as I was building them, which is not cool. And then after I finish writing the article, I reread it, go through it, make sure it's correct, which apparently I've missed here. And then I record a lesson based upon that, but not reading through the lesson. I sort of do it from memory to try to make sure that it's like not me reading from the script, because like nobody wants to see that. Like nobody wants to see me just like reading through a lesson. It's gonna be boring. So instead it's gonna be like me doing a almost as if I was teaching a course, like at the front of the room. I'm gonna go through and it's like, oh, anything I find it, so it's gonna be slightly different than the written lesson, and hopefully then you can actually get benefits from both, or if you choose one or the other, you shouldn't lose anything. That's the idea. And then these lessons are just markdown files. So as you can see, they're going to be pretty easy for me to update and fix. So that's my process. And I'm happy to answer any other questions about like any kind of educational type stuff or any other processes that I have. So let's see, we're gonna run down. So it's gonna be SQL X migrate. Was it down? No, it's revert. Okay, so that gives me this. Okay, so we got you done. Creating our tables. Let's create migrations for the other tables. Here's what they all look like after writing them. So there's the games again. And now we're going to have platforms. Okay, a heavy question. All right, I'll do my best. I've been very interested in teaching mentoring. Any tips for a new educator, especially one that already has a full-time job? So I guess be aware that teaching more than one person at a time is fundamentally different than teaching one person at a time. So like one person, essentially the mentor style works really well. As soon as you get more than one person, it becomes all like a classroom type environment where you now have to manage multiple people and your focus becomes different. I would say like there's a huge amount of educational theory that you can sort of dive into for this. I would say if you want one thing that would like make like improve any mentorship / teaching like by like 1,000%, something called two-way planning. Oh, I forget the exact name. It's something like two-way planning, two-dimensional planning. It's something like that. So the idea is, let's go to my desktop. Sure, you can do stuff in there. So by Helix, two-way planning. So let's say you would create a planning document where you would say like you have like the title, like lesson topic. You have to have the objectives. All objectives always start with by the end of this lesson, the student, actually I would just say like you will be able to, and then have a list that sort of like adds from that. So like if it's something like this SQL X is you will be able to like create a migration. It needs to be testable. This needs to be testable. This can't be something like you need to understand or you need to know how to do this. It's more of like, how would they demonstrate to you, the teacher or the mentor, that they know how to do this? So like create a migration is testable. You can see them do that. Now you know they know how to do that. Less is better. If you start seeing yourself doing like a ton of these, that's not great. That's because that you're going to overfill your lesson. And then the one that I don't put into my articles, but I try to keep in mind of is the actual two-way part of it, which is going to be for each thing. So two-way. So for each one of these like sort of parts of the lesson, so it's now going to be like time-based, right? So let's say part one is going to be like we're going to do like a little bit of a lecture, right? So lecture on what migrations are. And so then in here, it's essentially a table, but I'll just sort of kind of skip that here. We'll say, well, no, let's do a table. We'll do teacher doing. I guess so we don't need this. This is just 2A. Teacher doing, student doing. This is the 2A thing. So now, what is the teacher doing? Well, the teacher is giving lecture. Student is listening. Okay. And then what, right? Like you can't just give the lecture and that's it. We need time for them to be able to like, how are we going to see this? Okay, well, maybe we give them like a we're gonna have to give them something to do, right? Like maybe do some like research, like come up with like why. So ask, the teacher asks students to research history of migrations. Like maybe we want them to find out what that is. And students listen. So we ask them to do that, they listen. And then teacher observes students, and the students research. And then, okay, so this is a timeline, as you can see. So it's like, it's a timeline of events, and you're planning what's going to happen in the classroom, or if it's just like one or two other people, you're planning exactly what's going to happen out here. And then each of these have gates. So you can't move on to the next one until like the previous one is done. And so we want to make sure that we have some kind of system in here to ensure that the students are like did the research, right? So like if they don't do the research, don't move on to the next step. Like that's where it's like, okay, everybody, this is actually important. Do the research. And if not, well, now it's where you get to make the money that teachers are supposed to be able to make, which is change this on the fly. It's like refactoring your plan on the fly. If things go well, your next thing is like maybe listens. Now you listen, and the students report what they found. Maybe then next is discussion and discussion. Like everybody discusses together. And then you just continue on with this until eventually you reach the end where you're observes. And finally, it would be write migrations. This is something that would give you, by the end of this lesson, as an instructor, you would know for sure that these students can create migrations. And that's really the point of teaching, right? Like you need to know, have you done what you set out to do? Does this help, Exabyte? Awesome. There's a lot of educational books out there. I wouldn't necessarily invest in them, but if you really, really do sort of like get into teaching, I would recommend anything from Doug Lemov. He's a great educator, an educator instructor, if that makes sense. Now you just need to find students, and that's the $1 million question. That's why so many boot camps are shutting down. Yeah, need to find students. All right, so Get that. Okay, so we created the games. Oh, right. So next up here. What am I doing? Come here and okay, so this is the next one. We are creating the platforms. So platforms. Okay. I feel like I should just provide some free lessons to some of my friends who are looking to learn software dev and ask them to spread the word about it. I mean, that gets into more of like a business type question, and like maybe, like perhaps, possibly. If you think about it, like a lot of the stuff that I do on stream is essentially that, like, you know, providing free lessons and doing other cool stuff for free. And then hoping that like hoping that it's enough value that people come back. I think that it sort of depends, right? If what you provide value wise is actually really good, then I think that asking for something back, even if it's not money, even if it's like a barter system, might be really helpful. I do barter systems with friends all the time. So you could definitely do something like giving you feedback too. Like I would probably start with, what do you barter? Well, you could barter feedback on the lessons, right? You can start with that by like, hey, tell me how I've done. Cac Kirby. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but hello. How are you doing today? And then here's the big problem. Here's where I've forgotten. Here's where I've forgotten to put the foreign key. So we can do the foreign key down below the primary key, or we can do the foreign key up here, which I now need to remember the exact syntax for that in Postgres. So, and I think then it's like references in there too. So in create table, yeah, so I can then do references. It creates a foreign key. No one ever remembers how to do foreign keys in SQL. I mean, yeah. I mean, the real thing obviously is that if you're not in a database like every single day, obviously we're not going to remember. Oh, come on. Why does none? Oh, right. I forgot. None of the examples have references in them because of reasons. I don't know why, but none of these examples actually help with that. So this is one of the few times where you're like, now you have to like, hopefully you've learned how to like read this documentation syntax because it sucks. Okay, so we're going to create, then all of these are optional. So if not exists, table name, we do the parentheses, we have column name, data type, and then I'm not doing anything with storage. I'm not doing anything with compression or collation. Okay, so that's one sort of style of it. Then a whole nother one. I'm looking for the one with the references. Here it is. So, constraint. column constraint. Right, so we could do table name, column name, and then just column constraint, which is just references. So I don't do foreign key. So notice this, you don't do foreign key. And that's the thing. It's like, so this is just references. And then it's going to be the ref table, ref column. So because it already knows it's this one, so ref table is going to be games, and then game ID. And then it's just, we could then do our on delete. Sure, we'll just, should I do a cascade for this? If I delete the, oh, no, I don't want to do this. If I delete the, if I delete a reference between them, the game shouldn't go away. Or is it the other way around? If I delete the game, this should go away. Oh, it's probably that. It's probably that, right? So, should be ID in parens. Oh, should this ID be in parens? Doesn't say here, but it's like hard to tell. But we're gonna run this, and it will tell us if it works or not. So that'll be fine. Here, we'll do on delete cascade. That'll be fine. Let's do this exact same thing again. Oh, game ID ID. No, so we named, we made the decision to name everything, name the table underscore ID instead of just ID to make things a little bit simpler to sort of understand. Because that way when you're looking here, it's like, okay, like ID is like, which ID is it that we're looking at? You always know that it's game ID. So that's why. So there is no ID. If we go and we take a look at like these, I name them like platform ID or game ID here. I know, yeah. So you get platform ID on delete cascade. Okay, so, oh, and your forms. It's confusing for us because we aren't used to that, right? Because we usually use ID. But thinking about it, like using name of the table underscore ID kind of makes sense too, because first of all, the database doesn't care, right? It's just ID is just another table. And I can now if I'm doing any kind of like queries or like the autocomplete help from like a database itself, if I type in ID, it's gonna show me every table. Now if I do like game like underscore ID, it only shows me that table, which is really actually kind of nice. If I think about it enough. Okay, so let's run this and see if it works. Does the state of the app allow a game and a platform to exist without a game platform? Yes, it does. Absolutely, yeah. So we can have a game and we can have platforms, and then we can say, okay, now we own this game on this platform. And it's a many to many, right? So we can own the same game on multiple platforms, and we can although we can't own the same game on the same platform multiple times. I don't think we could do that, but the database would allow for that because, you know, it's many to many join. The database can't really, that gets more difficult to model. Okay, so let's run these migrations again. That worked. Okay, so it does like that syntax. Which means I can do a docker exec. And let's see, let's drop in here and take a look at. So if I look at ds game platform, platforms. Oh, is it game platform? Oh, right. Oh, wait, no. Okay, yeah. So here's our foreign keys here. So, okay, we have the foreign keys. That means everything will work the way I want it to. Esitsu, you managed to write a where not exists using CRM. Oh, congratulations. Okay, so let's jump back into Helix. This is gonna be, oh, this is not my shell. All right, create game platforms. I want to name this platforms, I think. And we're gonna change you to be that. Oh wait, is it game platform? It might be game platform. Okay, hold on. I'll just we'll just do that. Okay, so good. Note that when reverting migrations, they'll revert in groups that they run in. Drago, welcome. Don't worry about that, Drago. You'll be back? Okay, well then you can tell us about your stream and how that went when you get back. Thank you again for the raid. All right, so I'm not sure if, oh, you're looking at me? Thank you, Drago. So for the what we've been working on today, if you came in with the raid, is we're making a course on Axum, and we're specifically we're fixing a bug that I have in the also course that I have on SQLX. And so SQLX Rust is going to be a sort of like a submodule that you also get when you purchase the Axum course, because generally speaking, a backend is great and all, but you kind of want to usually you kind of want to get a database and do something with it. Otherwise, I don't like, most backends are kind of worthless without some kind of persistent storage, and just writing to the disk drive is not what I would recommend. So we have this module here, SQLX. And then somebody who's purchased and taken it, like sort of noted, oh, look, we forgot the migration, we forgot the foreign key in there, specifically in this lesson. So now I'm just sort of going through it and verifying that everything is working the way we want. So, okay, so that's all migrations. We did all that. Seeds. So we have our plan for what we're going to do seed-wise, and so now we're going to create a Rust program here, and we're going to add this into the main RS file. So here we are with migrations and seeds. We're going to do a cargo new. I'm going to call it seeds. I'm going to go into seeds and into main, and I need to install a bunch of stuff first. So creating the seed program. I guess like I kind of assumed what you know what you need, don't you? This is going to be a very simple Rust program that will run after migrations. So we'll need after running cargo new, install the following Install the following crates. The Better Owen subscribed to tier 1. Thank you, Better Owen. 2 months, all right. Thank you again for that. And how are you doing today? Let's see. Okay, so you're surviving an onslaught of meetings. Well, I'm sorry about that. I totally understand, and I know what that looks like. I'm doing pretty good. We got the Axum course. We got the SQL X course up and running. We're getting really good feedback on that, and I'm trying to show that I actually do follow up on any problems that are in there and sort of fixing them up, getting them going so that everybody feels they get their money's worth. And then we're also starting to work on the Axum course, which kind of this is also part of it. So that's all good. And then I'm probably going to be in a few meetings later today. We'll see. It's always sort of like unknown. It's really exciting. Once I got a bit more bandwidth mentally, I'll check out the course. Oh yeah, awesome. You're super curious? Great. Yeah, if you have any like suggestions, I have a backlog of courses that I want to create. A lot of them are just technology I want to check out. So it's one of those like sort of business things where it's like, I'm going to make it my business to just learn new things. Because that's, something that I found that I'm surprisingly good at is like learn something new and then create a course on it. Like I can do that. So therefore I might as well. All right, what do we need? So we know we need Tokyo. We need Tokyo. We need Dodi. Good afternoon. Hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so let's quit out of here. Let's do a cargo add. So what do we want? We want Tokyo. Which has all those things. So that's with that. Okay, so if I want Tokyo, I want probably we can do the air crate. I don't know if I actually need the air crate for this if we're doing it all. Are we doing this all in one file? I don't remember anymore. We might be. Yeah, it's super good. Although, like, I'm fixing a bug that we have in the SQL X course with the migrations and seeds, but I kind of still consider that part of the Axum course, since if I'm gonna have multiple sort of like levels of the Axum course. So what I want to do is I want to do like the live Axum course that you can do, and when you purchase that, you get the SQL X course too as like part of it. So it's all part of the thing. It's all part of the plan. Let's see. Okay, cargo add Tokyo. Cargo add. Let's see. We need .env. .env. Oh, this is gonna be weird. I want this to be here. Okay, so let's see, cargo add. Let's see, so we need that. Oh, I need cargo add SQL X. How advanced is Axum going to be? You're using it quite a lot in your current personal project, and you're always convinced there should be better ways to do what you are doing. That is, I'm probably not going to get too advanced. Because like part of it is going to be an introduction to it, and part of it is just going to be like, okay, and then also like build a project with it. And basically something from like take you from nothing Axum to building a project with it. That being said, like the way I do it might be different than the way you do it. But because I do like all the course building live on stream, that's free tier. So like free tier might be better for you. And you can sort of like, if you see that I'm doing something vastly different, you're like, ooh, I want that more. Then maybe you can like choose to upgrade at that point in time. But like I sort of figured that gives the best sort of like preview of like, okay, is this really going to work out? Do you want like easier access than going finding the VODs? Would always be good to see. You're always hanging around the stream anyways. Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. Opus Bopus, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so let's try those. I think that's all I need. So we have you, and then we're going to throw you into the main RS file. Let you do your thing. Uh-oh. Did I? Yep, I totally missed the closing. I totally missed this closing bracket. Cool. Okay, so everything's happy here. Now let's create the seed files themselves. So I like to create like the seeds directory in here, and then we're going to create those files, and then we're going to put these in here. So we're going to take seeds. I know there's going to be a seeds, which is not great, but it's a thing. You're doing all right? Oh, great. I'm doing pretty good. Fairly happy that there's really good feedback on this SQL X course that we created, and I'm looking forward to then making the Axum course, which sort of like goes hand in hand with it. And I'm happy that it's like there's value that people get out of it. So I think I'm on a good path here. So that makes me really happy. All right, so take seeds. Okay, so now we're gonna touch the various files here, which is, keep on forgetting this is a different window, not a really different window. Okay, so let's do. Okay, so I'll touch all those, and so now we can, oh, whatever. Well, I don't need that one. I'm gonna open up these one at a time. And so, okay, so for the seed games, we get this. Okay, seed games. There you go there. For seed platforms, get you. And for seed game platforms, this is a little bit different. We're doing a lookup query to get the IDs from them, which is fun. Okay, so let's head back, and now I think this is the update. So now we have everything in here. Oh, Air, you're gonna run into problems. Okay, so I should put like a jump back to this section, but I thought I had remembered everything. Okay. So then we create those, we create that, and now we have our new update here. Create our transactions. Nope. Well, actually kind of works. Update you, so you're going to do the entire thing. What are you upset about? Oh, wait. This is a run function. This is a run function. Oh. Update. Undo. Okay, so I actually want a new function. Did I say do this in the library function? Yeah, I did. I didn't even read that. Okay, so create a live.rs file, and then we'll throw this in there. Okay, that's what I'm missing. All right, let's actually I want to be in source. Touch lib.rs, and we can helix lib, throw you in there, and then write you. We want to go to main, and we need to use seeds run, and then we call it from here. So run and pass it in the pool. Sounds cool. I've actually been thinking about making your own sort of short course thing, maybe just a big blog post even on how you build APIs with Axum, since it generally seems like a different approach than a lot of folk take. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing how that is. Although if you want to wait for me to create my course, that way I don't accidentally get influenced by yours before you share it with me, I totally understand too. Because I don't want to accidentally take anybody like your stuff. But like it's really hard. Like if you see somebody else's the way they do it, like it's almost impossible not to incorporate that in, just because of the way our brains work. It's like, oh man, that's a really awesome way. Now I'm affected forever by that. So I guess like that's what I'll do. Even if you share it with me, I will not look at that until later. That's what I'll do. Let's see. Don't forget to call the run. Okay, so we call that. There we go. Okay, so then we're good to go. So now we should be able to run this. So we're gonna do here we can do cargo run. This seeds the database. So then I should be able to do our Docker exec thing again. And we can do like a table games, table platforms, and table game platform. and everything is here. Okay, so that all worked. So we only had like one problem in there, which was in the creation of the join table, we didn't have the foreign key, which is fun. But I think now we're good to go. And I've created, more importantly, this is now set up with a, oh, I need to add this as a Git repo, don't I? You sort of like try to create yourself as a Git repo, don't you? Let's remove that. Now remove Git and the .git ignore from here. And then over here, we're going to do a git init. Oh, no, git init? Yeah. Git init. Git. Okay, so .env. All right, so we need to touch. Probably should have just moved the .git ignore over here. That probably would have been better, because then I need to ignore the target in seeds too. Okay. So .env, and then I want target. Okay, so if I get add. All right, what do we got? Git ignore. We have the migrations. Okay, the SQL file. We have the migrations. That's good. We have the cargo lock, the cargo toml, the seed game platform. Okay, so those are good. Yeah, everything's looking good here. And then let's see. What do I? My brain just like, what am I doing? I think I looked at like the preview of Zilby, and I was like, okay, I kind of want to move the camera because that's not the most flattering view of him. That's a better view. Influence is great. That's a lot of the fun of this work. Like one of your all-time favorite Rust libraries, Daiquiri. That is a good name for a library. I see very little use of, and while it's definitely not for smaller applications, on larger applications, it's so great where it applies and has saved you a lot of time. Twitch casually not formatting your emote. Oh no! Wait, I see it. Or was it another one in there? Yeah, I see the emote. It's the let me see which one is. It's the Raya Riot spin. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, if you're okay with me being influenced by that before I finish the Axum course, then in that case I would read it. And this is not, I'm not making the course for a large Axum project. So if your thing is more for a large, then it probably won't apply to me. I generally try to keep my projects pretty small. Even when I work at, like, for my day jobs, I try to like break them out into smaller, sort of like, not microservices, but like, I don't know. I don't have the right name for it yet. Like there's a context for it, for like, it's not micro, but it's not macro either. Or it's not a monolith either. It's like micro monolith. Like that doesn't, there's not a good word for that. Okay, so git commit, we did, all right, so we created like lesson code. Okay, so then to push this up, we're going to do a GitHub repo create, create a, ooh, this is new, so they updated that. It's going to be push a local repository, so dot. This is going to be migrations and seeds with SQL X. Fine. Put that onto Brooks builds description. All right, so lesson code for creating configurations and seeds with SQLX. Sure, public. Add a remote. Yes. 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 Okay, so you're up. And then that means I'll come over here. Here you are. And now I can update you to say, okay, so a conclusion, and then we can have down here is like, see the C code, see the example code. What's this name? Like see the code, see the full code. Right there, okay. Okay, so I think this is good now. I should probably rerun my spell checker just in case. Because, yeah. Let's see. We're doing I spell. All right. You are. What was it? It's like space for except temporarily, or it's like ignore. Oh, it's been too long. I forgot what this one is. Don't put. Okay, so for that one, I don't want you to. Okay, accept the word for the rest of the session. Can I ignore the word? Oh, accept the word this time only. Space. That's what I wanted. So space, 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 space. I see this one a lot. Let's go ahead and we'll accept that permanently. Sure, we'll keep that. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Oh, it wants that to be GitHub. Okay, fine. I'll do the way it suggests. We'll do that one. All right. So git status. Okay, so oh, it created that backup file. But everything here should be fine still. We can just double check it really quickly. Just to make sure it just sort of looks correct and nothing weird is in here. But everything looks fine. iSpell has now like screwed me up yet. So I think we're all fine. I think we're all good. So we updated to include. Yeah, I get you. Some of how I do things also requires more thorough knowledge of Rust, and some of it even using nightly features like generic const expressions, which not everyone wants to do either. That's a big thing for me, is like, because I'm trying to create a lot of like lessons for like more like real use cases in like companies, and I know that like most companies would shy away from nightly. Not all. Like I'm sure that there's going to be plenty that are going to be like happy to install nightly and use it. But I think it would be a hard sell for like most people to say like, hey, can we install this thing? It requires us to use like the beta version of Rust and also the beta version of this thing. That's where like some people, like their bosses, would be like, can we go with the one that we know is stable? Which is really like, it's one of the reasons I'm upset that so many libraries like Axum don't have a 1.0 release. Like, even if they could, Like they probably could really have a 1.0 release and just say like, yeah, we're stable. You can use us in production. Where you work, we're forced to use Rust nightly. See, that's very different than where I've worked in healthcare, and like in healthcare, that like it's a little bit more scary when it comes to like, okay, we need things to work. Your favorite Rust Nightly feature right now has to be if let guard. It's so nice. I haven't even looked at like what the features are in Nightly that I can't use right now, just because I don't want to be let down by the fact that they may take a long time to get into stable, and by the time they come, I'll forget that they exist, and therefore won't use it anyways. Okay, so you get commit updated. Okay, so updated to include better, like, you know, more, actually no, yeah, this is the lesson itself. Okay, so updated include foreign keys on games platform join table. Okay, so I'm gonna push you up. But then the other thing is we can still do our SQLX migrations. I want to grab all of you, and I want to go. It definitely highly depends on what you're doing for sure. Healthcare is a very different realm than game dev. Oh, are you in the game dev realm? Yeah, although like at the same time, you still don't want things to like crash, but like I could see like companies being like, okay, we'll play loosey goosey with like the compilers and like the nightly technology, because usually once things compile, right, like once they compile, even if it's not nightly, if it runs once on one computer on the same architecture, on the same graphics card, it's going to run exactly the same time, no matter the fact that there might be some like weird bugs in there. The bugs aren't going to be for the same exact stuff. It's going to be when somebody says, okay, I have a custom driver for like my NVIDIA, like 10-year-old NVIDIA video card, and running on Linux, and your thing crashes on it. It's like, oh, okay, this sucks. All right, so, okay, I need to come into data here. I need to find, let's see, where is it? Article. Okay, so I have article content. Luckily, we don't have too many of these articles. So this starts with SQLX migrations and seeds. It's not on that page. There it is. So I want to edit you, make you big, replace you, hit save. And now if I come back to here, and I just hit refresh. Nope, that refreshed Twitch. Refresh you. Now, here's that foreign key. We have that. And we have that. Okay. I think we're looking good. And we have a link to the example code there. All right. I think we did good this morning, and just in time, because I ran out of time. It's time for me to head to my day job. So I will be back this afternoon. I'll be streaming every morning and afternoon this week. If you weren't here like super early and you're wondering why, like, you know, the times did change here in the US. So if you don't live in a country that does time changing, or your time change happened previously or it's about to happen, it's really weird. But so yeah, we're now on we're now in the US, we're now on standard time, starting on this last Sunday. So we all have jet lag. So I guess like give all your US colleagues a break. They're all immediately off by an hour for the next week or so until we get used to it. But yeah, I'll be back this afternoon, and we'll be continuing. So we'll be working on the Axum course. I need to sort of like refamiliarize myself with where exactly we are. We have a whole bunch of lessons for it created already. We can reorder them now, and we'll sort of go on with that. You're glad to not have to be on any specific schedule. Daylight time doesn't affect you. Oh, nice. Yeah. I found it's nicer to have a schedule for streaming. So I gave myself a schedule regardless. But then also I'm contract work with my day job, and they want me there at like a specific time for stand up, which is coming up soon. So that's why I have to jump off and go do that. But then I get done with that and get to come back and hang out with all of you again, or at least the afternoon crowd. So anyways, thank you again. I don't have to do my full outro again. There's not too many of us here right now, so we'll go ahead and just end the stream. Have a great rest of your Mondays. And if I see you this afternoon, I'll see you. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.